Hey, what's going on everyone? I recently made the decision to sell my 1972 Nova that I bought when I was 17 years old. I have had it for 15 years and I finally made the decision that I wanted to sell it. So I wanted to put together this video because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are probably wondering, should I keep my old car that I've had forever or should I sell it? And the truth is, there's no perfect answer for it. However, these are the three things I decided to sell my car, as well as I'm going to include two reasons to why I wanted to keep holding on to it for so long. So let's get into it. So here I am in the garage where the car used to sit. It used to take up this entire half of the garage. So the reason number one that I just was looking to get rid of it was because I didn't drive it as much as I used to. It always sat in the stall and took up space, and it never got driven. This past year I've probably driven it 10 to 15 times, but each time was only going 10 to 20 miles. So those alone are not enough trips in a car that I usually didn't drive anyways. Most of the time I got in to drive it because I felt obligated that I should drive it. So now with being older and having more money available, I have a newer vehicle that I can start with the press of a button. I can jump in it, there's air conditioning, there's heat. I can go drive it for several hours and several hundred miles without having to worry if something is gonna go wrong. So that's my number one for what you should think about if you want to keep your old car. If you feel like you're gonna drive it and enjoy it to the most extent that you feel is possible, absolutely. Keep it, drive it, and go have fun with it. But if you're just not having the fun with it and you're not able to drive it as much as you like and it's just taking up space, then you may want to consider selling it. Reason number two was the enjoyment factor. Was I enjoying the car as much as I did when I was younger? And the truth is, when I was 17 all the way up to my low 20s, yeah, I was able to enjoy it because it was something that no one else had. We were able to go do burnouts, have fun, and it was loud. So that was part of it. However, as I get older, you realize that the enjoyment really isn't in the car as much as it is kind of the experience with it. So when the experience of having the car is gone and you're not getting that enjoyment out of it, then it may be time to start thinking about selling it. So that kind of comes into the other part of this is I was always working on it. There's always something that I either wanted to fix or that needed to be fixed. Like this past winter, I had the heater core go out on this. So I had to spend weeks to get the parts, take apart the dash, and get that heater core replaced so it wouldn't leak into the floorboards. So always having to work on it and never feeling like I had the time to actually enjoy the car was another reason why I decided that it was time to sell it. So if there is stuff that's always going on with your classic car and you feel like you're just not enjoying it and it's just sitting around because you're waiting to work on it, then you may want to think about selling your car. That's reason number three. I was never going to be able to get to it to where I wanted it, and I was never going to be able to want to spend the money to update it. This actually past winter, I had updated the interior to be more like a sports car or more kind of updated. So I put a D-shaped steering wheel on it. I put racing bucket seats in it so that way it'd be more comfortable and it would hug your body so it would feel more like a sports car. Well, after doing that, I found out that it was still a classic car. There was not going to be any way to get around that. I still didn't have air conditioning and I was going to be driving a loud old car, which is fantastic, but to my point before when I was talking about having a newer vehicle that I can just hop in and drive anywhere and not worry about, the only way I was going to be able to get to that point is by putting more and more money into it. And it was going to be, $10,000 to $15,000 for me to get to that point of just me working on it. So along with not having the time I used to, I now didn't want to put that money into it to update it, when if there's something that was newer that already had all the bells and whistles into it, I could just buy one that's already done and I wouldn't have to worry about keeping the car around to just make it updated when it was never gonna be that way. Because it is a 50-year-old car, there's just no way to make it completely updated and have airbags and all the safety features, as well as having the convenience features to it as well. So that's reason number 3. Now, as promised, I want to give you the 2 reasons to why I decided to keep the car as long as I have. So the first is actually the pass down reason. So that's what everybody always will tell you if you have a classic car, that you can't sell it. You got to keep it as long as possible so you can pass it on to your kids or to the next generation. It's just one of those things. It's a classic car and people want you to hold on to it because of that sentimental pass down type of thought. You know, are my kids even going to want an old car? And along with that goes with the last reason that I gave you why I sold it, is the cost. Now, if I keep it for another 15 years until my oldest is ready to start driving it, now we're gonna have to go ahead and put a bunch of money into it to make it updated so that way they can drive it, especially being safe. So that was another reason. That's reason number 1 why I kept it so long, was the sentimental pass down to the next generation. And then the last reason that I kept onto it was the memories. This is the part that everybody has with their old classic car. You bought it, you worked on it, your friends all hopped in it, you went out to parties, you drove around, and that was something that it always will stay in your head. It's never with the car, okay? And this is the part where the minimalism comes into effect, where take a picture of it, take as many as you want, take one like I did of when I had it for a graduation photo, and then I took one right before I sold it. I'm gonna have those memories now forever. They're no one else's, they're mine, and I have photos that can take me back to those times to make me remember how good it was. So that's another important thing, is knowing that those memories are not with the car, they're with you. They're with inside your head. So if you're ready to move on and sell your classic car, there's no reason to hold on to it because other people say you should hold on to it. They can, if they have their own old cars and they enjoy them, that's fantastic. But everybody's priorities are different and everybody wants a certain thing out of life. So if you feel like you're moving away from your priorities of having an old car that you're working on and you're just not enjoying it as much, then you might want to think about selling it. So I hope this was helpful in you and be able to make your decision if you want to sell a classic car that you have, or someone else has maybe talked to you and asked about, should I sell it or should I hold on to it, try to pass it on. This I hope will help you and get you to that next phase in life to where you can move on. Everybody, thanks for watching.